everyone. My name is Shafali, and I met Grace in December 1990. I was interviewing for a job at Merits, which is the marketing research company that she worked at. And I had a small break between my job interviews, so they took me to the break room. And Grace was sitting there, and she was knitting a blanket for Emily, who Melissa was expecting at that time. And so she came to me and she started talking to me, told me all about knitting and about her granddaughter. And she asked a lot of questions about me, how come I came to be there. When I got the job at Merits, she took over the education and Americanization of Shafali. and she did it not like, oh, I'm going to educate you. It was just what she did. She shared her knowledge and her information with me, places to live, good places to go and eat, dry cleaners, grocery stores, and things that you need to get settled in a place. I think she was the one who introduced me to Sierra Club and their hiking. I think the thing that she introduced me to that I treasure most is NPR and KPCC. So it was the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour, if you remember at that time, it was the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour in the evenings, and it was Morning Edition and Terry Gross in the evenings. And who I am today is a lot because of that. And those of you who some of you have a problem with my commie pinko, liberal stances, well, she's to blame. She also introduced me to Pageant of the Masters, and I'm sure a lot of you have been the beneficiaries where she was sharing her love of that show. She would buy half the row, and she would always invite everybody to that event. But the best thing that she introduced me to was Masterpiece Theater. I resisted it for quite a few years. It was too highbrow for me, and who wants to listen to Masterpiece? I was 28 years old at that time. So I resisted it for a few years, and then along came Pride and Prejudice and Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, and she kept on saying how good it was going to be, and so I finally gave in. And Mr. Darcy. and I don't know if you can believe it or if you can envision it, but she and we did gush over Mr. Darcy quite a bit. And ever since, every time there was a new Colin Firth movie, she would be sure to tell me about the new movie that was coming up. But it wasn't just me that she took under her wing. There are so many people, Doreen and Laurie and Greg over there. Every new person who came and joined Merits, she would take under her wing. This was an opportunity to make a new friend. And one time I did ask her, how the heck do you do that? I mean, she was friends with people who are barely today in their 40s. So this is half her age. How do you do it? And why do you do it? And her thing was, people don't age because of their chronological age. They become irrelevant because they only associate amongst themselves. And by being with younger people, she felt like she was staying young. And so, how many of us have friends who are in their 20s and 30s? Well, she did. And so, note to self, make friends with people much younger if you want to stay relevant. And how did she do it? Well, her mantra there was, be interesting and be interested. So, we've all heard about many, she was a wealth of information, she shared all that information, but even more than all that information and the perfectly written cards at the perfectly right time, more than that, it was an openness to life. So we worked in Artesia. So Norwalk Artesia is generally known as the most multicultural place in the whole country. And we would go for North Indian food. We would go for South Indian food, Thai, Malaysian food, Singaporean food. In fact, we went to a restaurant where they had broiled ducks hanging over the counter. She was game for every single one of those items. And she never complained about the cleanliness or any of that sort. So it was an openness to all kinds of adventure. And then there's her thoughtfulness. So 1997, my parents came here sometime in November, December. So too late for Hollywood Bowl and pageant of the Masters, but she wanted them to have a unique Southern California experience. And so she had Doug take them out to see the Christmas boat parade. And that, I took my parents to SeaWorld and Grand Canyon and everything. But the memory that they treasured of Southern California was the Christmas boat parade. One last memory that I'd like to share. I came as an immigrant, so I had a work visa for 8 years, but it took me 10 years to get my green card. So 2 years I was out of status. And I must have been complaining about it to her. And she said, and this is how she would say things like, "Oh, for heaven's sake, Shafali, what are we going to do?" Or maybe it was, "Doggone it, Shafali, what are we going to do?" Well, Bob asked if he could write to the congressman, and I said, "No, there's nothing one can do at this point. It's all up to luck." And she says, "Well, you tell us if you need anything. If you need us to adopt you, we will adopt you." You're not going back to India. So that was the bigness of her heart. And as I said, all these things that she did because that was just her. She was helping people have a good experience in life. And so today when I think of Grace, and the lesson that I have from her life, it is that, live your life gently and love as best as you can. And Grace, you did do that. Thank you for being in my life.